Om Shuklam Varadaram Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarvavighnopashantaye Ishvaro Gururatmete Viveda Vibhagine Vyomavad Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Punaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So we were seeing chapter 7. So let us look at verse 6. So Bhagavan, the world is made up of Jadam and Chetana, both the inert objects, and then there is a consciousness. There's the objects, and the subject. And the cause, from the essential standpoint, we have seen the cause of everything. Cause in the sense, the origin of everything, that which is sustained by everything is Bhagavan, is Ishvara, who we understand as the Nimitta Upadana Karanam. So the cause, which is in material cause, so and also the consciousness, the sentiency or the knowledge aspect of it. So here, let us look at this verse. He just elaborates on this point. Etad yonini bhutani sarvani tyupadharaya aham kritsnasya jagataha prabhava pralayasthatha. So, etad yonini bhutani sarvani iti upadharaya aham kritsnasya jagataha prabhavaha pralayaha tatha. Sarvani bhutani etad yonini upadharaya. No, upadharaya is no. Know that that which is talked about, which is Bhagavan, really Ishvara, is how do we understand Ishvara? As the Karanam of every, in fact, every tradition looks upon, defines God as the cause of everything. It is how the cause is understood. But if you ask any religious tradition, what do you mean by God? So they will say God is because of whom is everything goes on, everything is there. So it is Karanam. It is all look upon it as a Karanam. But how we understand the Karanam is different. Okay, each tradition understands it slightly differently or significantly differently. So it says, so cause of everything, of all the bhutas, means of all the beings. Aham jagataha sarvasya. Kritsnasya is sarvasya, for the whole jagat, for the whole manifest creation. I am prabhavaha pralayaha. So I am the cause from which everything has come and the cause unto which everything resolves. Okay. So which is interesting. So we look upon, so the jagat, that means as something that is manifest and something that becomes unmanifest. It's not unlike some of the other traditions which talk about creation as a starting point. So a starting point in time and then as an ending point in time. But for us, it is cyclical, manifest and unmanifest. That means it is always there. You know, it goes on. Creation itself. So even from a simple standpoint, my own personal experience standpoint, I experience the world in a cyclical manner. Even during my lifetime, I'm not always relating to the world. Sometimes I'm relating to the physical world. Sometimes I am I am dead to it. When I'm sleeping, I'm not relating to it. So the being itself manifests. The individual manifests. So in the waking and dream, and then the individual becomes unmanifest in the sleep state. I have to account for all my states of experience. So this is what is prabhavaha and pralaya on a individual level, but also on a cosmic level. The same kind of thing happens. Everything becomes manifest, and everything becomes unmanifest. So Bhagavan here says that I am the cause from which everything is manifest and into which everything resolves. So I'm manifest, everything is manifest from me, and everything resolves into me. And so here also, as we have seen, so here that is the cause itself. Does the cause itself transform into the creation, into the effect? You know, like we see the cause itself transforming into the effect. And then, so here, is it like that? That means, is the physical world literally Bhagavan? So when it's literally Bhagavan, in the sense the Lord doesn't exist anymore. Okay, because he became the world. So Bhagavan became the manifest, therefore doesn't it's not there anymore. And then when it becomes unmanifest, then he goes back into his original state. It's not like that. Which is the original state then? Is it the manifest or the unmanifest? Which is the origin? In fact, neither both are relative. Really speaking, both are relative. So when we understand cause and effect, there are many different ways to understand the cause effect, like a pot and a clay. If you look at a clay and a pot, so the clay itself becomes the pot. If you had a pound of clay and then you make a pot out of that, you have a 1 pound pot. But then you don't have clay anymore. You can't have both the things. Whereas here, but so that is just from a material standpoint. But from another way, if you understand that the clay itself, when we say the clay becomes the pot, it didn't undergo any real change. It doesn't go any intrinsic change. The clay is still the clay. Okay. So the clay remains as the clay, even though when it is the pot. Whereas when it goes back into the clay, even though it becomes again the clay, that means as a clay, it did not undergo any change, even though it underwent a change. So when we understand Bhagavan, we understand Bhagavan in that way. That is what is called as the transcendental. So the transcendental aspect means that there is no physical change. It doesn't lose its original thing in order to become something new. So the Lord is transcendental. At the same time, so is manifest in the creation also. So it doesn't always transcend the creation. So unlike some other traditions, when they talk about the Lord, sometimes some religions or some religious thought, they talk about Bhagavan only as transcendental. So this is the creation which is there, the physical world, and the Lord transcends it. It is beyond this physical world. They are two totally different from each other. They are unconnected directly. It's some kind of a connection in the sense he is the boss and we are the subjects, employees. But then there's no other connection. They are physically separate. In every other way, they are separate. So this is purely transcendental. Otherwise, sometimes they say some other view is that it is only immanent. So that means that the nature itself is so there is no Lord other than the creator. There is only the creation. So that is all nature. Everything is just physical. Everything is mechanical. Everything is just the laws. There is nothing else beyond it. So that is only the immanent aspect of it. Nature. So they will keep saying nature. What is God? God is nature. Nature is God. Laws are God. It is another kind of or. So another way, the way in which we understand in Advaita is that the Lord is both transcendental and immanent. Transcends this at the same time is immanent. Like we see so many examples, metaphors are given in order to understand that. So here, in the sense, this is what he says here. So etad yoni means cause. So here bhutani, for all the bhutas, for all the beings, I am the one who's the cause, in the sense, and then at the same time everything has manifest from me. And when everything is not experienced, it also doesn't just disappear. It resolves back into the unmanifest. And that unmanifest also I sustain. So I sustain both the manifest and the unmanifest. I am myself transcending both. Matta parataram nanyat kinchidasti dhananjaya mai sarvamidam protam sutre manigana iva. So mattaha parataram na anyat kinchidasti. Hey Dhananjaya. So Arjuna, that beyond me, other than me, beyond me, parataram, anyat kinchit nasti. There is nothing else. So there is nothing else that is there beyond me. In the sense, there is no other cause. So when here one may have a question. So if Bhagavan says, I am the cause from which everything else comes, etc. Because generally when we see anything in the world and then see something as the effect and something else as its cause, the next question is, so what caused this cause? Always we keep going back and back. Everything has a cause, and that cause has another cause. That cause has another cause. So like that, Bhagavan, if he says, I'm the cause of everything, then where from did you come? Where from did you come? You may have, what is your cause? So Pachi says, there is no anyat karanam. Karyanantaram nasti. There is no another karyam. Karanam. There is no another cause, karanam, other than me. So in the sense, Bhagavan is understood as the cause without any cause. This is common in all traditions. So after all, it's the ultimate cause. Mai sarvamidam protam. Like even gives an example. Everything is sustained by me. Protam is so everything, the sustaining thing. Okay, everything is sustained by me. Like he says, Sutre Manigana Iva. Like even in a sutra, in a thread. Like in a thread, all the monies, all the gems. Okay, in a necklace, so you have a beaded necklace of beads or gems, and then all these beads are held together by the thread. So like even everything is held together. If the thread is, we know what happens. If the thread breaks, then it's all just splattered and scattered all over. You can't retrieve it also. Can't even retrieve it. You always lose a couple of beats once the once the thread breaks. So, but the thread is there, it sustains, it holds everything in the beautiful pattern. So just as the thread holds everything, I'm the one that holds this whole jagat together. That kind of a karana, not something which means is immediately there, sustaining the world. The world doesn't exist outside of Bhagavan. So, having said this much, so keep in mind this, as I said last time, chapter 7 to 12 is so Lord talks a lot about Ishvara and Bhakti. So, naturally, so the seventh chapter, the first chapter of that Shatkam, he will introduce ideas connected to Bhakti. And then the subsequent chapters are all about elaborating on these different aspects. So here he introduces different aspects. He talks about Ishvara as the essential cause, the essential nature of the Lord. Talked about Maya. Then talks about Ishvara as both the Nimittam and Upadana Karanam of this manifest world. And now he will talk. Okay, so then now everything is Bhagavan. If everything is Bhagavan, but that is not how we experience the world. Neither that is how we experience Bhagavan. So we experience the world as world. The Bhagavan, God alone knows whatever we experience. But The thing is, if everything, the world is manifest itself, the Lord is in and through everything, then how do I recognize the Lord? Is the question. So it's not obvious. Obviously, it's not obvious. Because if it was obvious, then we would be recognizing Bhagavan, but we don't. So obviously, it's not that obvious. So how to make it obvious? He says. So for which, so we have to point out, how is it? So how is it? How is this Lord recognized? Obviously, for one who understands the essential, okay, for that person doesn't have difficulty recognizing so Ishvara in everything, as creation is non-separate. But for the other mind, which is not able to do that, so then that mind has to be so made to see it. Okay. So obviously, so first you make a person see it in a concrete way. Then you can learn it's like a painting. So anything that we begin to appreciate, you always appreciate first in a broad way. Only then you appreciate the music is like that. So somebody who's tone deaf, completely tone deaf, and now this fellow wants to learn music. What is he going to do? You can't start teaching him the finer points of music immediately. First, he has to learn to distinguish between the major notes. You just start with the pentatonic, the big jumps that are there in the scale. Then only when you can figure that out, then you go into more detail and detail. Same thing. So music is like that. Form colors are like that. Even colors. So color also, suppose somebody can't, when somebody asks you, so what is the color of your, so then they will say like this, when they describe the colors of the cars, they always gives you some names. So this is some kind of gray, metallic, town, some colors they put there, which are they're not real colors. They're just given names given to certain colors like that. But then if you look at the crayons, the Crayola crayons, there are very fine differences between the colors, but then you can't immediately recognize. Even most people don't know. But first you learn the concrete colors, the basic colors. Yeah, start with the 4 colors, then go to the 7 colors. So then you go into all these kinds of things. Bhagavan is also like that. To understand Bhagavan, first you have to understand in a very concrete way. If I can't understand the finer points, that ultimately to lead me to a point where I don't see anything which is outside of the Lord. So that idea has to be introduced, for which he introduces by giving a few examples here of how I can recognize the Lord in things which I can relate to, which are obvious to me, but the Ishvara in them is not obvious to me. So here in this chapter, he gives a few examples. Later on, he will elaborate it on much further. So number 8, we'll see. Rasohamapsu kaunteya prabhasmi shashi suryayoho pranavas sarva vedeshu shabda ke paurusham nrushu. So rasaha aham apsu. First, he just takes simple elements. Everybody can relate to. So knows elements. Apsu means apaha is water. So suppose you say, okay, where is Bhagavan? This is a old question. Where is Bhagavan? Like in our in you know Prahalada. You know that Prahalada story we all know. So his father. So they have this whole big thing with his father, and then finally Hiranyakashipu asks him, so where is Bhagavan? Your Bhagavan. You say Lord is everywhere, everywhere. Is he in this pillar? Is he in this pillar? He asks. And what does he answer? What does he answer? Really, dude? What does he really answer? So when he asks him, is Bhagavan in this pillar? So Prahalada doesn't say, so Bhagavan, yeah, Bhagavan is in this pillar. Doesn't say like that. Doesn't say like that. He says, I see the Lord in this pillar. He says, I see the Lord in this pillar. Because for him he wasn't there. But for this one he was there. He saw him in the pillar. Then of course he breaks the pillar and Bhagavan manifests. Manifests in a form that was appropriate for him. That is the thing. Bhagavan manifests, okay, to each one, but manifests in a form so that is appropriate to the. We all get blessed. Everybody is blessed. So only we don't know how we get blessed. That's the thing. Everybody gets blessed in the way in which that is they are meant to be blessed, really speaking. So here he says, same for water is there, obvious, He says, is Bhagavan there in this water? So if Bhagavan were to answer, how is this? What is it in the water that is Bhagavan? So there, so there it is. It won't be the same thing. Bhagavan in the water will be a little different from Bhagavan in something else. All relative, in this particular name and form. So he says, with reference to water, Aham Rasaha. Rasaha. I am the essence. I am the essence. What is the essence of anything? What is it? What is water? It is colorless, odorless, tasteless. So what is the essence of water? So obviously it can't be some color. It can't be an odor. It can't be a taste. So that means what? So absolutely nothing? No. It is what makes water water. Is it the ice? Is it the liquidity? Is it the liquidity in the water that is Bhagavan? No. Can't be liquidity because water is not always liquid. So sometimes it is solid, sometimes it is vapor. Even water is there in the sun. I was surprised when I read that. So we don't think of it. We think sun comes means all water disappears, and that's not true. In fact, in the sun itself, there is water in the sun. All the spots in the sun are all supposed to be water vapor, and they reduce the temperature of the sun by 5,000 degrees. Those spots, and in fact they say if the spots were not there, we would be cooked. Yeah, we would not be alive. So it's the water vapor that is there in the sun. The water in the sun in the form of vapor is what cools down its temperature enough for us to be able to survive. It's amazing to know that, even so that means water is there everywhere. Apaha, apaha. This mantra pushpam is all about apaha. Apaha aham apsu. Devi, in Devi Suktam also she talks about that. This is all water. Everything is water. Water is everywhere. Bhagavan is called water. In fact, and the water is Brahma. Apova idagam sarvam bhutani. When you do Sandhya Vandanam, so the idam sarvam, this whole jagat is sustained by nothing but water. And then it's not the physical water. The water has many manifestations, but that which is in it, that which is its essence, that which is its rasa, that which makes water water, the H2O principle, whatever it may, that which keeps it what it is. With respect, in fact, that applies to anything. Okay, but with reference to water, he says, I am its essence that makes it what it is. In fact, it is something which can be recognized at many different levels. So in the Suktam, Devi says, I'm in the form of mantra pushpam is all a glorification of apaha, of water, not of pushpam. It has nothing to do with pushpam. It has to do with apaha. So rasoham apsu kaunteya prabhasmi shashi surya yoho. Okay, fine. What about the sun? The sun and the moon means luminaries. Just takes an example of lunar. Suppose you're sitting there in the sky, looking at the sky. The sun is there, nighttime moon is there, and the little philosopher in your head asks, so what is all this? Where is Bhagavan in this? Because I am the light. I'm really speaking. Without the light, there is no nothing. We won't see anything. Sun and moon, in fact, indicates luminaries, and luminaries give light, prabha. Without the prabha, I don't see the world. In darkness, nothing is nothing is available to me. In fact, there is nothing that exists in darkness. That which exists is not recognized by me. It's not available by me. So that which makes this whole world, in fact, available to me is all because of prabha, because of this physical light, and that is represented by the sun and the moon. So he says, if you were to think of the sun and the moon, and then you see my vibhuti, that the when we look upon, so when we think about recognizing Bhagavan, it is really recognizing the this vibhuti of the Lord that makes things possible even. So here for the luminaries, it is the light. Means again, it is what makes them what they are. Without that, they would not even. In fact, they are called luminaries. So they would not be luminaries. Pranava Sarva Vedeshu took care of elements. Then there's some obvious objects, and then next one is the Vedas. Right? So Veda is a jnana. Veda is in the form of knowledge. So Veda is something which is to be known. Knowledge. The knowledge is called Veda. So among the knowledge, knowledge is presented to me in so many ways in the scripture. So in this, if I was to pick one thing, you know, what is the essence of the whole Veda? Vedas is in the form of Shabdam, is in the form of words. So what is that one thing that is representative of the whole Veda, of the knowledge, complete knowledge contained in the Veda? He says it is Pranavaha. Huh? Sarva Vedeshu Aham. Is this Sarva Vedeshu Aham Pranavaha. Pranavaha is Om. Om is called Pranava, Omkar. And the Om, as you know, it is a Om is a symbol. It's a symbol. It's a sound symbol. So even though when we write Om, in all ways we write Om. So in Devanagiri, there's a way of writing Om. And then in English, we write Om. And then it's AUM, all kinds of things we put there. So those are all just, so the linguistic symbols. But really speaking, Om, so it's not a written symbol, it's a sound symbol. It's a sound symbol. It is something which is sound symbol in the sense. So each letter, which is made up of different components, and each letter represents something. And so there are three letters in Om, U, and Makara, each one representing three different aspects. Okay. So, and so that which is indicated, it's a sound symbol. So these are, each letter is a sound. Each letter is the sound. So the sounds put together form a word, and every word every word names an object. That's really what it is. A word is a symbol of something. It symbolizes something. That is what a word is. If it's not associated with some object, with some nama roop namam, it is a namam. It is a name. Since it is a name, it is a name of something. Okay. There is a what is called as a substantive. So for the name, Om is also a name. Om is also a name. It is a name given to the infinite. The game given to Bhagavan or to the infinite. Why is Bhagavan called Om? Because he's infinite. Since the Lord is infinite, infinite includes everything. Including infinite includes all the forms. It's not an individual form. It's all forms put together. Since it is all forms, then every form will have a name. Every form will have a name. So we should have all the names, so it's for all but otherwise, if we didn't go through this kind of understanding logically properly, then for Bhagavan, what name we'll give? I recently heard this. So it will be, what was that? Fanu. It will be this Fanu thing we heard about. So Fanu is the new name they are giving. Our consulate is giving to people. FNU. FNU or LNU. This is the name they give you. If your first name is unknown or the last name is unknown, which for most of us it's not that it's unknown, but we are confused about what the first name, what's the last name. So then for them, if we are confused, there is unknown for them. So if you're too confused, don't tell them something properly. Whatever you have to tell them, village name or whatever name, if then they will put FNU. So now Bhagwan, if you have to give a name for Bhagwan, then they ask, okay, do you know what Bhagwan is? So by the time we figure out what Bhagwan is, then this person they will give the name. So first name unknown. You can't do that. So here Bhagwan is everything. So because Bhagwan is everything, it is all forms. All forms means all names. Okay. Now all names put together. You put together all the names. So then what happens? So they will all come between A to Z. If you want to include all the letters in the alphabet, you have to include from the first letter to the last letter. Correct? First letter to the last letter. Now what is the first letter? Well, it varies. It varies in different languages, and the last letter also varies in different languages. But one thing is common though, in all languages, the first letter comes out when you open your mouth, and the last letter comes out when you close your mouth. When you close your that is universal. See, it's just all truly universal. So when you open the mouth, and the first sound that comes out uh, is a that's the first sound. So then, and the last sound, you close your mouth, and the last sound is makara. So all the sounds are between a and mm, between a and and there are in between sounds also. It's not just the first and the last sound. There are all so many in between, infinite sounds in between. That is all. It is all symbolized by the letter u. You round out your mouth, you round out your lips, and you make the sound. It is u. So akara, ukara, and so makara. When these three combine in our language, in Sanskrit language, when they combine, you end up with om. So om, purely. So om is a word that is created by these sounds, and sounds which symbolize something. So thus the sound, the word om, thus om becomes a word now. And this word om has a nami. Naturally, every word has something associated with it. And what does Om is associated with? So that which is the cause of everything. Jagat Karanam, that which sustains everything. In other words, Brahman says, Om iti Brahma. So the Veda says, the Upanishad says, Om iti, Om means Brahman. Is another name, is another word for Om. So thus that which is the cause of everything. In fact, the Lord Bhagavan is called as Om. It is his name. Om is Bhagavan's name. Therefore, everything we begin with Om. All the prayers begin with Om. So Om is mentioning, I mean, really speaking, it is the name of the Lord. And since it is represents the infinite, you will see we don't offer worship to Om, because it's infinite. Okay, you can only offer worship to an aspect of the infinite. Okay? We don't have temples with the shrine Om, except Arya Samaj. You see that Arya Samaj temple, you go, they will put their Om, because they have other reasons why they do that. But really speaking, Om is a sound symbol. It's not a form symbol. It is not considered a form. So therefore, we don't have a form. We have idols, which are forms, which represents Bhagavan. Similarly, Om is not a form symbol which represents Bhagavan, really speaking. It is a sound symbol which represents Bhagavan. Therefore, we don't have a murti of Om. We only have, yeah, in prayer and in recitation, and dhyana, all that we do. Even in dhyanam, it is a sound symbol when we say Om. So, Sarva Vedeshu Aham Prabhavaha. So, in fact, if the Veda has to talks about, what does the Veda talk about? It all has to do with Bhagavan. It all has to do with the Lord and my connection to the Lord. So therefore, if there was one word in the whole of Veda that had to give the essence of the whole teaching, in fact, so it is Omkara. It is the Om sound, in other words, which is also called as Pranava. That is Bhagavan, really speaking. Means without that, there is nothing Veda has to say. Shabda kha. This is the space is called as kha, kha space. Khagaha is a bird, the one who flies. Ke gachati, the one who flies in the space is called as a bird is called khagaha. The name. So kha means space. Now, interesting. Look at this. So it says, when it comes to space, I am Shabda. I am the sound. I am the sound. The word or the sound, really speaking. Shabda means it's a word, but word is manifest as a sound. Interesting. Now, what is the sound connected to the space? But really speaking, if you want to recognize space, you know, if you want to recognize space, how do you recognize space? You know, how do you recognize? You can't see space. You can't feel space. You know, you can't touch space. You can't taste space. There is no. Is there space or not? Is there space or not? But if you really you want to recognize space. What do? So you close your eyes. Suppose I ask you to close your eyes. I forgot to bring my little flute today. But suppose I close your eyes, and then I make a note and a note. Then what happens? You know. So you immediately recognize what? What do you recognize? You recognize the silence. Space is like silence. Silence is like space, really. So in the space there is the sound, really speaking, you know. And we say silence because I'm conscious of that. So it becomes silence is another word, really speaking. So spatially is in terms of so the two axes, but in terms of experience it is silence. So shabda. And so it's like a bell. When you ring a bell, so in the temple, it's interesting. You listen to the bell. The bell is not, arti time, that tapa tapa tapa, all that big noise. The bell, it looks like a noise. It's not noise, really speaking. When you ring the bell, one ting of the bell, that is really omkara. And that it reverberates, in the silence. That silence is myself, in fact. But to know that, to recognize that, I can use this sound, Shabda. Omkar. Omkar also is a Shabda. So, in the Vedas, the whole teaching is in the form of Om. But Om is nothing but a sound symbol. So, in which the whole space can be recognized, silence can be recognized through sound. So, thus, when it comes to space, then I am Bhagavan in space means is recognized as a can be recognized as a sound. So he says, I am sound with reference to space. Then Paurusham Nrishu Naraha, person, person, Purushaha, or a person, for a human being. What am I? I am the Paurusham. Paurusham is the abstract quality, the humanness. The humanness in a human being is Bhagavan. You know. Very important to recognize what this means. Because we say, as a human, we don't want to be humans, right? We want to be gods naturally. So our idea of God, many times when we worship gods, just think of this. We worship different deities, right? And the deities we choose to worship. And so, what do we worship them for? I do puja too. So, Mahalakshmi. Why? Why? Because I want Lakshmi. Hey, Lakshmi. So, anybody you want Lakshmi, you want wealth. So, you do puja to Sri Mahalakshmi. Same way, I want knowledge. So that means, so that is how the Lord, the different Lord manifests in the form of different deities. But what is it that I am really trying to get here? I am trying to get that, so that particular what that deity represents. Okay, I'm not content being a human being, right? So, but then he says, so I want to become. In fact, people want to be gods. You know, people want to be demigods. That's why we say God is too far up. So at least demigods. That's why we all behave. We become bullies. So, because each one wants to be powerful, each one wants to be better than the other, each one wants to be more superior. Everyone wants to. I want to be richer than the next guy. I want to be more powerful than this. Is what is all this? I want to be worshipped. I want to be recognized. I want namaskarams. This is also, in other words, I want to be treated as what? As a god. Really speaking, I want to be treated as God. But then, in order to, we can become gods also, according to our shastram. We can also become gods. How do we do that? So by karma. By karma. You do punyam, you do good things, you gather a lot of punyam, and then you can, then next life or the future lives, you can get better and better, more exalted bodies. And then at some point you can even become Bhagavan. You know, means one of the deities, like Indra, like Mahabali and all. So he wanted to become Indra. In fact, so but then all these people that we see in the Puranas, they're all human beings. They all are human beings, but they all wanted to become. Indra is a position, remember. So even though Indra Devata is there, but his name is positional name. It's like saying, so the president of a company, chairman. So there's a chairman, there's a vice chair, like that. The word Indra means, so it's like chairman. After his term is over, then somebody else, another jiva becomes the chairman. So like that, Mahabali wanted to become in. So in the Puranas, when they tell you that they wanted to become, so fight Indra and take his position and all, so this is what it means. So by doing all these karmas, you can become. But because without doing punyam, you want to become. So because quickly, punyam, if you do so many lives you have to do, but nobody has the patience for that. Immediately you want to become take over. You want to take over. So all these people in the Puranas who wanted to immediately become gods without going through all that effort, what do they end up becoming? So end up becoming asuras. They are good people, also good people. Mahabali was a good people. So Kerala people still say he's a very good people. In fact, they worship. They
As a human, how would I know that, I mean, this may be my last jannah, for all I know. So I should aspire for what I can.
yeah, it's true. So you aspire, but do it the right way, no? So yeah, so right through you can aspire. I can aspire to be Indra, but then the method for that is through punyam. Through punyam. But when the punyam aspect of, because in a hurry you can't accumulate punyam. That's what happens. So aspiration is good, but haste is not good. So immediately he becomes so hasty, then he does things all wrong things, and he end up being a asura. But he was, let me just to finish. So, but he was also good. He was also good. He also did a lot of good things. Which is what Kerala people respect him for all the good that he did, not the bad that he did. The good that he did. So for the good he got punyam. For all the bad things that which got into his head, then the all that stuff, then he ended up going to Patalam. So now, even though, so he got a lot of punyam, he ended up in Patalam temporarily. Then later on he will. So when he is when he's vetted properly and the period is over, then he will go back to. You become the Indra also. It says in the next cycle he will become Indra. Now, this is a complicated affair. So here, Bhagavan, what he says is, Paurusha, you don't have to do all this. You don't have to go through all this. You're a human being as a Purusha. You don't have to aspire to become Devata, really speaking. Because, so I am already in you. I'm already in you. Bhagavan, that which is the cause of everything. Ishvara, in you I am Paurusha. So, the Paurusha, the humanness in a human being, in fact, is the godliness. Okay. So, it's not that you have to give up your humanness to gain godliness. We think they are two different, two opposite. And this is what I find also. So there is a certain human. Therefore, in the 6th chapter, he talks about this. I'm sorry, 16th chapter, where he says, so he talk about asuras and daivi sampat and asuri sampat. The human being has this potential. Sampatti is wealth. This is our hidden potential. So either which is daivi qualities are there, divine potential is there, or asuri potential is there. The opposite. Both are there. Those both are there. They are part of being a human being. It is the human being who has these two potentials, and that means it is the daivi sampat that makes me gain the daivam. It is so. It is that is part of Paurusham only. So it says even for a Purusha, in a human being, you be as a human being. So you be a human being. To be means what we call off as the humanness, the humanity, the sattvika qualities. Those are really what is I am. In the sense, why does he say that? So then, in order to recognize, I have to recognize Bhagavan in myself also. But I'm not going to recognize Bhagavan in myself through qualities which are not consistent with how the Lord manifests, or is rather how the Bhagavan is essential. Okay, some more he gives. Balam balavatam asmi. Oh, sorry, 11, number 11. Balam balavatam asmi. Balavatam kamaraga vivarjitam dharma viruddha bhuteshu kamosmi bharatarshabha. So balam kamaraga vivarjitam balam balavatam asmi. Balavatam, for the one who is Bali, the one who has balam. So balam is strength, samarthyam, he says. Samarthyam is the capacity, the capability, the strength, the strength in among those, on the people, on the strong people. He says, I am the strength. I'm the strength. What kind of strength? Yeah, it can't be general. It's a very generally, literally, you can't take it. Otherwise, every bully will be Bhagavan. So it's not like that. It says, Kama Raga Vivarjitam Balam. It's a certain kind of balam. It's a certain kind of strength that is being talked about. That Vivarjitam is which is free from Kama and Raga, really speaking. So absence of, he says, absence of greed, etc. You know, asan nikrishta vishayeshu trishna. So longing for things, things which are so not conducive to my well-being. So that kind of a thing, greed, that kind of karma and desires, etc. Prapteshu visheshu. So this is what they call as this. Um, Yoga kshema, yoga means desiring for things so which are not going to be helpful to me for my own growth, and then holding on to them, etc. that kind of balam. So the strength that is the strength that we all recognize as not good for my growth. He says, free from all of that, the strength that is talked about, the potential in all of us, that among them I am that. So Bhagavan is manifest in sattva guna qualities, not in rajas and tamo qualities, he says. And dharma viruddha bhuteshu kamaha asmi. Bharadarshava, O Arjuna, he says, among the bhutas, among the beings, I am in the form of desire. It's interesting. Generally, we always talk of desire as something undesirable, as if desire is a problem. But one cannot be totally free from desire, nor one needs to be free from desire. But certain desire is acceptable. What kind of, in fact, he says, Bhagavan, I am in the form of desire. Desire is what prompts a human being to do things, really speaking. So without desire, nobody is going to do even good. Imagine, if desires were bad and everybody gave up all desire, then who would do anything? Nobody would even do good things. They would not do the right things because sometimes you want to do something which is good. That is also a desire. So therefore, he specifies, I am in the form of desire. In fact, this an expression of Bhagavad, that Bhagavan in a desire is a certain kind of desire, which is dharma aviruddha kamaha. So it is a desire which is not opposed to dharma, says. So aviruddha means not opposed to dharma. So thus anything which is dharmic, desires which are in keeping with dharma, he says there Bhagavan can be recognized. In others, the Lord cannot be. It's all the whole point of all this is to be able to recognize. So Daivam in not only in things, in fact, it's not just in the things outside, in the things I do, but then within myself, really speaking. Ultimately, Bhagavan is not outside of me. So in order to recognize Daivam in me, I have to evoke things in me in terms of how I relate to the world, so that I can recognize that in myself. So he says, even when it comes to desire, so one need not, it's not a question of giving up desires. It's question of seeing that the desires do not contradict what is dharma. 12. ये चैव सात्विका भावाः राजसास्तामसाश्च ये मत्त एवेति तान् विद्धि न त्वहं तेषु ते मयि न त्वहं ये च एव सात्विका भावाः राजसाः तामसाः च ये मत्तः एव तान् विद्धि. So all these bhavas, all these tendencies, he says, everything in fact that is born of is sattvika, rajasaha, sattva, rajas and tamas, everything that arises in the people. Bhavahar padarthaha. Padartham is anything, anything that can be named is called as padartham. So essentially anything which we qualified things in terms of the three qualities, right? Sattva, Rajas and Tamas, three gunas. You can take anything, categorizing. It's a matter of categorizing things. So everything that is categorized, so in terms of oneself, in terms of the objects, in terms of qualities, in terms of emotion, anything you can take and categorize as sattvic, rajasic and tamasic. We've seen that. So here he says, all of these, they are all from me alone, ultimately. Even tamasic qualities, rajasic, everything is from me, means comes from me in the sense, because Bhagavan is that which sustains all. It sustains all. But then at the same time he says, Mattaha eva tan viddhi nattu aham teshu. I am not in them. Natta aham teshu na. I am not in them. Whereas te mai, they are in me. They are in me. I am not in them. So when he says I am not in them, in another way of saying that I transcend them. Okay. I transcend them. But so I am not in them, but they are in me. Means because they are sustained by me. So in fact, we take the whole world is like this. So the whole world is sustained, like the clay says to the pot. The pot is sustained by clay, but the clay is not sustained by the pot, right? So it's not sustained. So the clay transcends the pot, but the pot is dependent. So one is independent, one is dependent, right? One is dependent and one is independent. Whether the pot is there or not, the clay is there. Therefore, the clay transcends the pot. Whereas the pot's existence depends on the clay. So the clay is there in the pot, but the clay can exist outside of the pot without the pot. Okay, so that is what is meant by transcendent and immanent. So Bhagavan, he says, with reference to the whole creation, which is in the form of these three gunas, he says, I am in it. Aham teshu. First he said, Mattaha eva. They all are sustained by me. They all have come from me. Earlier he said, Aham sarvasya prabhavaha pralayaha. So I am the one from which everything has come. I am the one in which everything is goes. So therefore everything is from me. Mattaha eva. So I am in them. But at the same time, so I am not dependent on them, he says. So they are dependent on me. So thus Bhagavan for us is understood as being both transcendental and immanent in everything, but has to be recognized in the beginning in a concrete way, and later on in a more abstract way. Trivir Gunam, number 13. Trivir Gunamayair Bhavaihi Evi Sarvamidam Jagat Mohitam Nabhijanati Mamebhyah Paramavyayam. Tribihi Gunamayaihi Bhavaihi Ebihi Sarvam Idam Jagat Mohitam Na Abhijanati Mamebhyah Param Avyayam. Mam. He says Mam is Bhagavan. Okay. Mam, who's Param? I am the one who transcends everything. Who's Avyayam? Avyayam is changeless. So the one who doesn't undergo any Shadbhava Vikara Rahitam is Avyayam. That which does not undergo change. That which is the changeless. He says, for me, Mam na Avijanati. Person doesn't recognize me. Even though this is what I am. I'm the one that keeps everything going. I'm the one that sustains everything. I'm the one that is there in everything. It says, Sarvam idam jagat tribihi gunamayehi bhavaihi. That is there. But for the person, what happens? Mohitam na janati. Because of moha. So because of ignorance, you don't see me. You don't see me anywhere because of ignorance. Okay. Because of ignorance of all of this. Daivi hyesha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya मामेव ये प्रपद्यन्ते मायामेतां तरन्ति ते एषा देवी एषा गुणमयी देवी मम माया दुरत्यया दुरत्यया दुःखेन अतिक्रमणम्. Duratyaya means that which is difficult to overcome. He says, so this is my maya, this avidya, moha. The moha means the It's not just ignorance. Moha is ignorance, so based on which there is then all the wrong conclusions. There is moha, wrong thinking. The moha is often translated as delusion. Okay. So delusion here is so based on ignorance, there is wrong thinking, there is error. So he said this is what is called as maya. This is what is called as maya. So maya is avidya. And this maya is not something which is outside of Bhagavan. Thus he says Mama Maya. So Ishvara's Maya. So elsewhere somewhere we saw, if you remember. So Maya is Ishvarasya Shakti, is what is called as Maya. Okay. It's not a power which is outside of the Lord. It is the Lord alone. So Mama Maya is what is Daivi, Daivi Sampat. This is itself because it is Ishwari. Okay, it is Ishwarasya Idam, it is Daivi, it is also divine. Maya, it says, but very difficult, ignorance, because it is ignorance based. Mam eva ye prapadyante mayam etam taranti te. So how do I cross this then? I have to cross over to the other side. No, ignorance can be limitless. Okay. But so crossover ignorance is not a joke. It's on the other side of ignorance. If I have to go, then he says, Mam ye prapadyante. So the one who seek me, the one who come to me, means the one who wants to know Bhagavan, the one who wants to relate to the Lord, the one who wants to understand the Lord, in fact, is the one who overcomes ignorance. How do I overcome any ignorance? By wanting to know, right? If the desire to know itself is not there, then what is the question of overcoming the ignorance of that that I need to know? So the first step itself to know, to get over any kind of ignorance, is to want to know. So Mam Prabhadyanti, the one, if I want to seek the Lord, in fact, the seeking the Lord is the first step to overcoming. So the ignorance about Bhagavan, he says. Having said this much, then he will talk further a little bit in this chapter, introduces what is bhakti. Because he talks about, so Mam Prapadyanti. So the one who seeks me out. So how do you seek out Bhagavan? Is the first question. First thing is to have even the desire to do it. Then once having had the desire to do it, then how do I seek out Bhagavan? So that is the nature of what is called as bhakti, which is what he introduces next, and then we'll go on to elaborate it on some of the further chapters. So we'll see that next time. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Sri Guru Pyo Namaha Harihi Om